What's going on, everyone? It is Phil, the harness doctor, and in today's video we're going to be removing the radio module out of my 2021 Silverado LT 1500. I plan to send the radio module off to White Auto and Media Services for the purposes of getting factory nav enabled onto it. Some of the tools you'll need for this will be a pick tool set, something like this where you have various pick tools to get to some of the connectors, a 10mm socket, and the removal instructions. The removal instructions I actually downloaded from White Auto and Media Services website. I'll put links in the description below. And for this purpose, I'm going to be setting it off so that we can get factory navigation added to my 2021 Silverado LT 1500. This particular upgrade is specific to the radio configuration on my truck. So I'm going to show you how you can pull up the RPO codes for your truck now. So again, my truck is a 2021 Silverado LT 1500. My current radio configuration is an iOS radio configuration. Now, the exterior of these radio systems may look identical, but the internals are different. So in my particular configuration, my truck, I currently have all the hardware required for factory navigation. It's just not enabled in the system. So to check what radio configuration you've got in your truck, you want to get down here into the B pillar, take your phone, open up the camera app, and you want to scan the QR code. Once you get the QR code scanned, it's going to want to open it up in a browser. So click the browser, select the text in the address bar, copy that text, open up your notes application and paste. And what we're looking for is iOS right there. So if you have an IOR, my understanding at this time is that this will not work for IOR. This will only work for iOS. So again, the screens and the front exterior will look similar, but you want to check the RPO code list on that door panel. So we're going to get started. I've got the battery disconnected. The radio module is located underneath the passenger side glove box. One of the other reasons why I wanted to get factory navigation enabled into my truck is because if you've been following my channel, you'll know that I swapped out my instrument cluster for this high country cluster. And in doing so, let me go and start it here for you guys. In doing so, I had the navigation items enabled on this cluster, but because navigation is not enabled in the truck, we have blank speed warning icons on this cluster. So with the factory navigation enabled, I'm going to go ahead and show you that these items will work on the cluster. So we'll go ahead and get the battery disconnected, and let's get to removing the radio module. Okay, so underneath here, we're going to be looking at this connector. Now, the instructions specify to unplug the inverter module first, but if I try to remove this module, this connector gets in the way. So I'm going to go and disconnect this module first. So this module here has a red CPA. You want to pull this away from the connector, so you're going to move it down, and that allows you to move this gray lock here. So this gray lock is going to move to the right, and you want to slide it all the way back, and then it will release from the connector. This side is actually held on by a retaining clip, and so I was able to just carefully pry it off just like that. All right, so show that to you again. So this is in the locked position. Release the TPA, slide the gray connector back, and then disconnect. Now that's out of the way, we have access to remove the inverter module. So just push down on this retaining clip here, and the whole thing slides out. To unplug the inverter connector, you're going to slide this red TPA down, just like that. And then using a screwdriver, you're going to lift the tab here, and that will allow you to rotate the white lever rearward, just like so, and then you can unplug. We're going to use a 10mm socket to remove the bolt for the bracket here, and one up here. So here is the inverter bracket removed with the two 10mm bolts. Now you have to remove this inverter bracket because the path in which you have to take to remove the radio module, which is this silver box there. This bracket gets in the way, so we have to remove the bracket to get to that. So we're going to work on disconnecting the plugs on the radio module now. Just a pro tip, guys, there are some sharp edges along this edge here by the glove box. If you have gloves, wear them. If you're having difficulty removing the connectors, put some electrical tape just along this edge here. In the few seconds I've tried, I've already cut my hand 3 times. So we're going to try to remove these connectors one at a time. So starting with the far left, I don't know, light green olive color connector. On the left side, there's going to be a red release tab. You need to pull that release tab down. Just like that, you hear a click. And then here on the side, there's a little tab you want to push in, and then you want to remove this connector. So there's the red tab, slide that all the way down, and you want to push in right here on the edge of this connector to remove that one. Next is this black cable. On the right side, there's a tab here you can push in and carefully unplug. And there's a release tab right there. The next 2 connectors will be this gray and this black connector. Now these have a connector lock here on the back side, and it looks like it's a clear CPA. So if you can get your fingernail underneath it and pull it down, go and pull it down and then push in to release. This is what that CPA looks like. So you want to pull this down towards you, and then that will give you the ability to push on this tab. Same thing with the black. Just like that. The next 2 cables will be this blue cable and this black cable. Same thing, you're going to have a red CPA on the back side. You want to get your finger behind there and pull the red TPA down. If you're having trouble, this is probably where a pick tool like this would become handy, where you can get behind there to pull that red TPA down. So I'm going to go ahead and try to unplug it without that tool now. So I heard the red tab come down, and then push in on the connector button. Just like that. So this is the red CPA you have to slide down. Once you slide it down, it'll give you access to press this button right above it. Same thing for this black one. Just like that. We have this black connector here on the far right, and this one also has a red TPA. You want to pull down away from the module. So this connector gave me some trouble. I couldn't get it on camera on how to remove it, but I got it out. And so on this one here, you're going to again release the CPA by bringing it down, and then the release button is actually right in front of it. So you want to press that and release. This was rotated in this orientation, so I couldn't do that and get it on camera, but slide the red TPA down and then push in right in here to release. And finally, the last 2 connectors here on the right is going to be similar to these cables here. Pull the red CPA down, and you want to press in. These cables on the right, the red TPA is actually to the right. So you want to get your hand underneath here, slide the red CPA down. And again, this is where the sharp edges are right here. So just make sure you have some tape on that sharp edge or you're wearing gloves. CPA down, and then you unplug. There's 2 of them. CPA down, squeeze, and then unplug. So that's all the connectors that you want to remove out of this radio module. And now all we need to do is release these 2 black tabs here, and this radio module should just come right out. Just like that. All right, so here is the radio module removed. You can see all the different connections that we had to get to. Now it's time to place the order on the White Auto and Media Services website, package it up, and follow the instructions to get it sent off for programming. Don't forget to reconnect your harnesses that you unplugged, the main harness here under the dash, and then your power inverter harness, bracket, and module. To reinstall the inverter connector, you want to just insert it into the inverter. And then you want to push right here, and that lever will automatically rotate just like that. And then you will move the rotator all the way through to lock it in place. Lock the TPA and put it back into the bracket. For this connector, you're going to insert it back, push, slide the gray cap forward, and then push down on the red TPA. Just like that. With the radio module removed, we're going to go and start the truck. Now, obviously, we won't have a radio screen because we just took the module off that drives the screen. When I went into gear, I noticed the park assist off message came up on the instrument cluster. We'll just dismiss that. I noticed that the park assist system is disabled at this time. I'm going to make the assumption that that is due to the radio module being removed. So once we get the module back from WAMS, we will reinstall it and we'll retest that. So I've got the module back from White Auto and Media Services. The turnaround time was super fast once we validated the requirements. So I'm going to go and get this installed now. I'm going to disconnect the battery and just reverse the steps that we did to remove it to put it back in. So I've got the radio module reinstalled, the power inverter back in. We're going to go ahead and reconnect the battery and start the truck. Now that we have the battery reconnected, we can go ahead and start the truck. Now your kit is going to come with an SD card. You want to make sure you do not insert the SD card into the SD card slot until you follow the reset instructions. So let's go ahead and get the truck started. Now, if you notice on the screen, I've got the navigation icon that wasn't there before. And when I started this the first time, I actually got a message on the instrument cluster that said SD card was removed. So again, your kit will come with an SD card. You want to make sure you do not insert the card until you do the reset per the instructions. So let's go ahead and get that done now. So the last steps before inserting the SD card is to perform a factory reset on the system. So you're going to go to settings. You're going to scroll down to return to factory settings, and you're going to perform all three items. So we're going to go ahead and get that done. And finally, clear default applications. And once those are done, you can now insert the SD card. When inserting, make sure it goes all the way in and it clicks. And that means it's seated in the correct position. And now we can access the navigation. So you've got some information here, and we just need to allow access on all of the items it's asking for. Loading maps. And then you're going to confirm the message on the screen, and now we have factory navigation. And just accept the terms and conditions and just continue on. And now we have factory navigation. So before the truck can actually lock onto a GPS satellite, we may need to drive around for a little bit. I tried keying in a few addresses and it's not loading anything yet. So we're going to go and drive around for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll retry it again. So after about a quarter mile of driving, the GPS locked onto the satellites and the maps began to populate on the radio screen. I was able to navigate addresses just like normal, and as the maps and the turn-by-turn would show up on the radio screen, they would also show up on the instrument cluster. As you recall, in the beginning of the video, the speed limit icons that you see on the cluster would show up blank with dashes. With the navigation working, when you are on a road that has a posted speed limit, that speed limit will show up on the instrument cluster. Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video on adding factory navigation to my 2021 Silverado LT 1500 truck. Special thanks goes out to White Auto and Media Services for getting my radio module programmed and turned around super fast. If you have any questions on this upgrade, I'll be sure to put links in the description below. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button, and hitting the bell notification so that you stay up to date on all future video releases from me. Again, this is Phil, the Harness Doctor. Until next time, we'll see you later.